Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss about consumers equilibrium, one of the most important topics in economics and one of the most scoring part also. So normally when you are deciding for consumers equilibrium, there are two approaches to it. The first one, as you can see, is the cardinal approach. The second one is ordinal approach. Today we are going to take ordinal approach, but just to give you some brief, what are these two theories? So basically, cardinal approach was given by Alfred Marshall, and ordinal approach has been given by J.R. Hicks. Preferably remember the names of these economists. When you write those names, it creates an impact in your answers also. What is the main difference between cardinal and ordinal is, in cardinal approach, the satisfaction, also known as utility in economics, we use the word utility for satisfaction. So in cardinal approach, that utility is quantified. We quantify that utility in utils. Whereas when I talk about ordinal approach, I don't quantify that utility. What is the main difference? Like for example, in cardinal, when I say I am consuming a product, so I am saying that I am getting a satisfaction of XYZ rupees. When I am consuming A or B, I can quantify what is satisfaction from A, what is satisfaction from B. But when I move to ordinal approach, there I don't quantify the satisfaction of A and B. I just say A is better than B, or A is giving me more satisfaction as compared to B, or B is giving me more satisfaction as compared to A. So utility is ranked in ordinal approach. Whereas when I come to cardinal, I need to quantify that in terms of utils. Utils is nothing but in terms of money what you want to pay. When I come to cardinal approach in detail, I will discuss how do you quantify that utility. But today we are going to see ordinal approach, where I am not quantifying my utility, but I am giving ranks to it. Now, under cardinal approach, normally there are two types of utility cases done: one product case and two product case. But when I move to ordinal, there's only one case. What we do is two product, because ordinal approach assumes that it is not logical for a consumer to spend his or her income on only one product. So normally it assumes multiple products, but it is very much difficult to do or to find out an equilibrium under multiple products. Hence they have come to two product theory. So today we will see that ordinal approach to product theory. So say for example, I take two products, apples and mangoes, and I am finding out the equilibrium point, or the equilibrium a consumer will achieve when these two products are consumed. Now I have taken some cases over here. These are options: option 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now what are these options? In option 1, a consumer is consuming one apple, and say for example 15 mangoes. The satisfaction what the consumer gets is X. I don't want to find the number that this is XYZ rupees or something like that. I am really not concerned about the amount of satisfaction what is received, but it is X. This theory says that if a consumer wants to consume or increase the consumption of apples, say for example from 1 to 2, he has to eat 2 apples, and he wants to maintain his satisfaction at X only. So if a consumer decides he wants to increase the consumption of one product, keeping satisfaction same, this is only and only possible if you reduce the consumption of the other product. because if this is 15 and this is 2, of course satisfaction will be more than x. If this is more than 15 and this is 2, of course again this will be more than x. So if I want to maintain the same satisfaction with increasing the consumption of one product, I have to reduce the consumption of other. Now normally what happens is, initially you are inclined towards apples, hence you want to increase the consumption of apples. So for you apple is much more important than mangoes. So initially you are even ready to sacrifice 3 units of mangoes to get 1 unit of apple. Now if a consumer decides he wants to move or he wants to consume one more apple, say for example the third one, and still he wants to maintain the satisfaction at x, this is possible only and only if he sacrifices certain units consumed for B. But this time he is sacrificing only 2 units to get 1 unit of apple, and if he move ahead to 4, he is ready to sacrifice only 1 unit of mangoes. Why this is happening? Because as and when you are increasing the consumption of apples, the utility of apples goes down. Like if you consume one apple, the second one, when you go to the third one, the satisfaction or the importance of apples for the consumer will go down, and you are losing on mangoes, so your inclination will move from apples to mangoes. Slowly you will start reducing the sacrificed quantities of mangoes to get additional unit of apples. This is the case of diminishing marginal rate of substitution, known as MRS. So your rate of substitution, that is how many quantities of mangoes you can substitute to get 1 unit of apple, will go on reducing as and when the consumption is increased. This is known as diminishing marginal rate of substitution. I will discuss this again with cardinal approach, so it will give you a full proof idea about what it is. For time being, understand that as and when you increase the consumption of apples, for you the apples value goes down and it is being substituted by mangoes. So you are much more inclined toward mangoes, hence the consumer reduces the sacrifice amount of mangoes. If I plot all those combinations on a graph, it will look like this, where you have a curve which shows all the combinations of the goods consumed, or basically I will say the consumption of apples and mangoes. The best part about this curve is at any point on this curve, the satisfaction level of the consumer is same. So a consumer is indifferent while choosing any of these combinations. He has the same thinking for option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, because we have assumed the satisfaction at all the levels is x. So satisfaction is same, that means the consumer is indifferent while choosing any of these options. This is known as indifference curve. The word indifference is self-explanatory, that a consumer is indifferent while choosing any of these options. But if you understand carefully, I have taken all the options based on only the satisfaction. Here I have not considered what is the price of the commodities. Here I have even ignored what is the income of the consumers. So I cannot say a consumer will go and take any of these options. It should be seen that it should be affordable, because when I say consumer's equilibrium, that means satisfaction which is maximum achieved from the available income. with the given prices. So only taking this indifference curve into account might give us a wrong picture. Hence, for finding out the equilibrium, we need to understand one more concept, that is budget line. When I talk about budget line, it is nothing but a line on a graph which shows various combinations of two goods which can be purchased with the available income and the given prices. So if I say point A, B, C and D, these are the combinations of apples and mangoes which can be purchased with the given income of the consumer and the prices. I am not taking the numbers right now, but you can select any combination of prices of two commodities and you can take any income, you will get the graph. Now, while I was discussing this curve, that is indifference curve, I was discussing only about satisfaction. So when I said about IC, it was only about satisfaction. When I went to budget line, I discussed only about the prices and the income. But if I want to find out consumers equilibrium, I need to match up these two things, where it can be seen that from the available budget, where can I get my maximum satisfaction. So a consumer's equilibrium will be achieved when we combine these two. When I combine budget line with indifference curve, it looks somewhat like this. So your BL is your budget line and there are three indifference curves, that is IC1, IC2, IC3. Now if I will discuss about this point, that is point E. Point E is at indifference curve. There is one property of indifference curve which shows that higher the indifference curve, higher is the satisfaction achieved. So ideally IC3 is giving us the maximum satisfaction as compared to IC2, as compared to IC1. But point E is outside my budget, because my budget line is far below than my IC3. So even if a consumer will get maximum satisfaction at point E, he can't afford it. If I see at point C and B, they are at IC1. There is also point A, which is at IC2. Can you see that point C and point A, like a consumer can take point A also, because it is within the budget, it is exactly on the budget line and it is on IC2. And a consumer can take point C or point B also. As a rational consumer, if I want to choose between this A and B, B is lying on IC1 and A is lying on IC2, and both are lying on my budget line. Ideally IC2 is giving me more satisfaction as compared to IC1. So why should I opt for point B and C? Means I am paying the same amount what I am paying to get combination A with lower satisfaction, which is not acceptable. So consumer's equilibrium will be achieved at this point, where your indifference curve is tangent to your budget line. Therefore consumer's equilibrium will be achieved at this point, where IC curve is tangent to the budget line. This is the point which is within my budget and giving the consumer maximum satisfaction. This is the entire concept of consumer's equilibrium under two product, under ordinal approach, where we say indifference curve analysis or indifference curve approach.